Hey, I'm Chris Ralph, the professional prospector, and I'm out here doing some dry washing today. Haven't done a dry washing video in a while, and I wanted to show you guys some things. Now, a lot of you guys, you know how valuable a dry washer can be, how helpful it can be in finding gold. But others, you guys will say, hey, I don't live in the desert. Why would I want a dry washer? Well, look behind me. That isn't the desert. This is a forest. And this is actually an old gold mining area that was worked in at the 1800s and the 1870s and 80s. And, this area actually where I'm standing, and it explains to you why I'm dry washing, because I've metal detected nuggets here before. I've detected some nice flakes. Last year I got one. This is not an area known for big gold. So the best I've done, last year I got about a 1 pennyweight nugget, that's a 1.5 grams, but for an area not known for big gold, that's not that bad. It's not a big prize thing, but it was a good nugget. I was glad to get it. And anyway, there's a lot of little nuggets I've found through here with my metal detectors, but why am I not metal detecting instead of dry washing? Well, this particular area, actually, some guys came in here in, I think, either the late 70s or early 1980s, and they bulldozed through here. And they made a clearing, because most of this area is just pile after pile after pile after pile. The old-time miners came through, they dug the gravel, they threw all the rocks in piles. They dug more gravel, they threw rocks in piles, and it's pile after pile, right? But this area, the recent miners in the, like I say, 70s, 80s, came in here with a bulldozer and pushed a lot of those piles around and kind of uncovered some bedrock. And I've been actually in this spot right where I am with my metal detector and found a few pieces of gold. But, and it's the big, I also found that somebody had stood over there and shot over this way with buckshot, and this area is just filled with buckshot. And so, if I come in here with my metal detector, 49 beeps out of 50 is going to be a little bit of birdshot. And so I thought, that's not really helpful, dig that many targets without finding any gold. And so what I decided to do was to dry wash it. It's right on bedrock. The gold is concentrated there, and there's of course some small gold in the gravel that the small gold is too small really to see with the metal detector, and I can recover that with the dry washer. So by scooping it in, I'm not worrying about the little round pellets from the birdshot. Now you might ask, hey Chris, you're going to concentrate all those bird pellets in your dry washer concentrates too. And indeed I am. I cleaned it out a little bit, when I made this run, and I looked at the first riffle, and there was all kinds of birdshot in there. But here's the trick, and I'll show you this when we get to the end of the video. We'll go back over this. But the birdshot is all round, and the gold tends to be flattish. And so it's easy to kind of swirl the pan in a way that the round stuff moves to one side and the flat stuff stays put. Now, I can eyeball through the birdshot, the round birdshot. If there happens to be a round little bit of gold in there, hey, I'm going to separate that and save the gold. But of the really round targets that roll easily, 99.9 of them are going to be lead, be the birdshot. So that's how I'm going to separate, and we'll go over that at the end. That's how I'm going to separate the birdshot from the gold. And in the meantime, I'm going to dig this up and going to get some more gold. I've already been doing a little bit of work here, but we're following through, and I'll let you watch me dry wash. One of the things about this place, some dry wash places, some are dustier, some are less dusty. This is a real dusty place. So try to stay upwind, try not to breathe the dust, but you'll see the dust coming off when I'm running. So with that, let's get started digging and dry washing and moving toward finding some gold. All right, let's get going with doing some dry washing for real. That's one thing. If you somehow get it to where it's not feeding properly and you expose enough of the cloth, then the cloth, you know, air will all go out the cloth and you won't get any movement of material. You kind of have to keep the cloth at least partly covered. And right now the screen is on this side and I'm just kind of moving the material off the screen, making sure the fines go in. And then shoveling more on. Remember I said it was dusty? It's dusty. Okay, that was a good little run. I mean, normally I run longer than that before I do anything, but you know, it's the same looking at me doing it, whether you're gonna watch me do it for 5 minutes or 15 or half an hour. And you know, I do it every so often and I take a break, and that just shows you how the dry washer works. Now I mentioned I'm in a forest, and a lot of people think dry washers are just for the desert. Well, the truth is dry washers are for any place where it's dry and you've got gold-bearing gravel. Now sometimes you have nice flowing water right close by where you're digging, and then it makes no sense to dry wash, because dry wash is not quite as efficient as wet washing, sluicing is. And so, you know, if you have a choice, you want to go wet. But if you're out someplace where it's dry and it hasn't rained in a while and the gravels are dry and you'd have to haul them a long ways to get them to water, the dry washer is your answer. So we'll keep working on this and I'll show you some more, but that's enough for the moment, and to see how we're getting started and how we're going with the dry washer, because it really is a great tool. This happens to be a model by Keen, but there's a number of other folks that make them. And the truth is, you can make your own dry washer. And in fact, I did a video on how to make your own dry washer. So if you're interested, you might look that up. I'm going to put a link to that. Where does it go? Well, above my head. Can't remember which side it's on. Anyway, take a look at that if you're interested in making your own dry washer, because they're very much within the grasp of somebody who wants to make their own equipment. And dry washers are great. They're very handy.
So I thought I'd shoot some video at a different angle here so that you could kind of see the dry washer better. You can see here I'm shoveling material onto the screen that's on the top, and then I'm going through the material to crush any dirt clods and make sure all the material that's small enough to go through the screen goes through and doesn't just roll off the side. And that's why I don't have the screen steep enough that, you know, I could shovel on and then just have it roll off. Well, if you do that, a lot of the fines will just roll off. You know, they'll be attached to a piece of rock or something. For whatever reason, they'll just roll off. So I want the fines to go through the dry washer, and so I can capture the gold. Now at this angle, you can see the bellows going up and down that puff the air into the lower part of the dry washer where the sluice and riffles are. And you can see that you know, the coarse material that goes off the front of the screen is there in front, and the fine material is there in back. And you know, I'm going through this carefully because, like I say, I don't want any dirt clods to go over and fall into the pile, you know, the reject pile, the coarse pile in front. And I want to process all the material. Now I'm shoveling this. I've got material there that I dug with my pick before I started this segment of the video. I've got a pile. You can see I'm shoveling out of that and onto the screen. And I'll just keep shoveling and, you know, making sure that it's got an even feed, that it's not running, you know, just overloaded with dirt, or not running dry with nothing coming down. I'm trying to get a sort of an even feed as it goes through the dry washer part itself. Now, like I say, I've dug and processed a pile of dirt there, and I'm shoveling out of it. And when I get done with that pile that I've already dug, you know, I'll turn off the dry washer and then dig another pile. And that's one of the things I like about this. Is it's an electric dry washer. You see the wheels turning there, and there's actually a little 12 volt. It's actually a windshield wiper type motor that you might use in a car, but it's set up for this thing. And just off the screen in front of me, you can't see it, there's a 12 volt small gel cell battery. I've got a couple of them, and they'll run for 3-4 hours each, and so the two of them is plenty enough to run for the whole day, because like I say, I'm running for a while and getting material processed, and then I'm over in my hole digging material out. And when I'm digging, the machine is turned off. So it's a good way to do things. And you know, once I get the pile done, then I, you know, stop and dig another pile. And that gives me a chance to take my time. I'm not trying to rush and always keep material in the dry washer just so that it doesn't run dry. Being able to turn it off and on easily is a good deal. You know, with the ones that are run with a lawnmower engine, it's a lot more work to start them and stop them and start them and stop them. And anyway, I hope that this gives you a better view. I'm about to turn the switch off here.
Well, it's been a long day of dry washing. I've shoveled a lot of material here. I figure I've got, counting both the coarse and the fine, and also rocks that I've tossed that aren't even in the course, that I probably am somewhere between 3/4 of a cubic yard and a cubic yard, somewhere in that ballpark. I want to show you the hole I dug, but it's time to call it a day and clean up. But I'm going to show you my dig hole, and we'll talk a little bit about that.
So here's a shot of the bedrock that I was working, and it's hard to tell from this photograph, but the spot where the crevices here that you can see, they're about 5-6 inches deep below what was the surface of the ground before I started digging. Now, I said this area was gone over with a bulldozer, and one of the things about bulldozers is, you know, they hit the high spots and go over the low spots, especially on real hard rock like this. So the bedrock's fairly hard, and the dozer, you can see spots where it hit high ground, you know, higher ground, and we would scrape that off. But the low spots, like these crevices and that sort of thing, yeah, no, it's just not going to get down in there. And that's why I was thinking this would be a good place to hunt for gold, except for the bird shot that was all over the surface of the ground. And that's why I brought in my dry washer.
All right, well, I'm back at home and I'm sitting in the shade, and it's time for me to take my concentrates and go through them. The first thing I'm going to do with the concentrates, I'm going to use the little pan, but the first thing I'm going to do is screen them. That's really your first step, is take out the coarser pebbles. The screen on the dry washer will take out any bigger stuff, but still dusty. Now I will check the oversize. I'll even wash it. I'll go over it with a metal detector just in case there's a bigger piece of gold that gets caught. It's a 4 mesh screen, so 4 holes per inch. All right. For now, I'm going to put that in this. Put the rest of the material in here. Always make sure you get everything out. Okay. Now I'm going to take this screened material and pan it. You guys probably don't need to see me pan, so let me pan through it and check everything, and we'll see what I get, and I'll get back to you in just a second. Although it'll take me a little longer than that to pan through it, but it won't be too big a chore, and I'll show you what the gold I got. So let's cut to the gold.
So after panning and cleaning and drying, here's the gold that I got. You can see it's about 1.65 grams, and there's a little bit of black sand in there, so I'd estimated it's probably closer to about 1.5 grams, the total gold weight. Then that's not too bad. There's definitely pieces in here that were detectable or would be detectable with a metal detector, and I'll probably go back and dig some more out of some of these crevices that I showed you. I think overall it was a worthwhile effort, and I'm glad I did it. And to finish, I just thought I'd show you the lead that I got, and at 6.2 grams there's a whole lot more lead than gold. Most of these bits, you can see a lot of birdshot in there. Most of these bits were detectable, or would have been detectable, and so this is why it was better for me to dig this gravel and dry wash it than to try and catch the nuggets by detecting. Now, prospecting is all about what you know and your knowledge and understanding, and if you want to increase your prospecting skills and become a better prospector and find more gold, well, I wrote a book about that, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my book right now.
So let me tell you a little bit more about my book. It's called Fistful of Gold, and I wrote it because I want you to be able to go out and find for yourself Fistful of Gold. And you can see that it's an encyclopedia with all kinds of information, pictures, and that sort of thing. It's not in color, but color would have cost me a lot more to have printed, and so the book would have cost a lot more. It's for sale on Amazon, and you can pick it up. I'll put a link in the description below. I also serve as the editor for a prospecting magazine. It's ICMJ's Prospecting and Mining Journal. And honestly, you should check that out. We got stories and information, legal stuff, everything you know to increase your skills as a prospector. I write articles in this every month, and a lot of other very experienced prospectors contribute to the magazine as well. So check the magazine out. Also, I have a website, and the website is at NevadaOutbackGems.com. I'll put a link for it in the description below, but there's gobs of information there that you will find useful in your prospecting efforts. Finally, I want to say that I really appreciate your comments and thoughts, and even positive criticism. Don't come on there and just toss out insults, because I'll just delete your comments. But if you've got helpful things to say and questions to ask, do write and put those in the comments, because I answer my comments to people, and you'll hear from me in responding to you. So if you've enjoyed this video and you like what you see and you're interested in finding out more, well, then sign up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so they'll let you know when I post new videos. And like it and share it if, again, you see stuff that you really are excited about. And I'll be coming out with lots more new videos, and so we'll see you again real soon.